9 a.m. this morning, which was their wettest day in 18 months. Thankfully, though, the showers are beginning to ease. There's a lot of cloud associated with that in the far southeast. A little bit drier further north under a ridge of high pressure, but to the west, an area of cloud that's building with a low pressure trough and cold front. That system is tracking eastward, so we will see some warmer winds developing ahead of that front over parts of South Australia over the course of tomorrow before a cooler southerly change moves through later Monday and into Tuesday morning. Meanwhile, that low pressure system in the southeast, that will move out into the Tasman, allowing for conditions to ease. But this low pressure trough further north through inland Queensland and into New South Wales is still drawing in some very hot winds, so driving up temperatures right across Queensland and northern parts of New South Wales. In the way of rain tomorrow, not a great deal thanks to that area of high pressure, just some isolated showers lingering across parts of Tasmania and southern Victoria, but we'll notice that clearing through the second half of the day and drier conditions remaining further north. Just some very isolated thunderstorms expected around inland parts of southeast Queensland. So tomorrow those temperatures across Queensland will be above average thanks to those very warm winds being drawn in with a low pressure trough, getting to 37 degrees in Roma, 35 degrees in Rockhampton, even in Brisbane tomorrow. Temperatures getting to a top of 32 degrees, which will be 5 degrees above average. Dry, mostly fine conditions for the day, although we will see some showers and thunderstorms developing west of Brisbane into the afternoon, particularly on and west of the ranges. For New South Wales tomorrow, we are going to see dry conditions across the state, just the slight chance of an afternoon shower or thunderstorm in the far northeast and the possible shower in the very far south coast. But otherwise, the remainder is dry. Temperatures remain a little on the warmer side, although still a little cooler through the southern half of the state. Lismore getting to a top of 33 degrees tomorrow in those hot winds. Sydney, a little cooler compared to where we got to today. A sunny top of 26 degrees, though, is still above the October average and will make it to 31 degrees in Penrith, 28 degrees on the way for Parramatta. For Victoria tomorrow, we are going to see mostly dry conditions. We're just seeing the chance of a shower or two lingering through the morning for southern parts of the state and across the northeast ranges. Most of that clearing, though, through the first half of the day. Temperatures a couple of degrees warmer compared to where we got to today. We'll make it to 22 degrees in Horsham. In Melbourne tomorrow, temperatures getting to a top of 19 degrees. A little bit of morning cloud will clear to a mostly sunny afternoon. And we could see a shower or two for the outer eastern suburbs, but most of that will fall through the first part of the day. For Tasmania, showers will continue through western and southern parts of the state. In Hobart tomorrow, just a possible morning shower, temperatures getting to a top of 19 degrees. In South Australia, those temperatures are on the rise, particularly in the west. Ceduna getting to a top of 35 degrees. It will be ahead of a gusty cool change, though, that will arrive in the west and then reaching central districts later in the evening and into Tuesday morning. So for Adelaide tomorrow, temperatures will get to a top of 25 degrees with those northeasterly winds strengthening. That cool change arriving by Tuesday morning, but I'll have your full week's weather a little later in the bulletin.
Making news now, 2 children have been killed, 2 more airlifted to hospital after a fire broke out in a shed where they were playing. Israel warns of the next phase as it steps up its assault on Gaza ahead of a full-scale ground invasion. And the moment an arsonist strikes, a family left terrified after this targeted attack. 2 children have died. Another 2 are clinging to life tonight after they were trapped in a shed which caught fire. The 2 primary school-aged children who survived the ordeal have been airlifted to hospital in Melbourne. The local community has been left devastated as police investigate the cause.
A close-knit suburban community left devastated after a deadly blaze ignited in a garden shed this morning, killing 2 children and critically injuring a further 2 as they played inside.
Pretty shocking. You know, you sort of don't think it's going to happen down the road from here, but...
Police were called to the property just outside Geelong after 10:30 this morning after reports of a blaze. Neighbours rushed to help, but 2 of the young victims could not be saved.
It was a horrific scene, as you can imagine, with children involved.
The surviving children have been airlifted to the Royal Children's Hospital. Police are continuing to investigate the cause of the fire, but say it is not suspicious.
There is a lot that we don't know at this stage. We have spoken to a family and we have spoken to neighbours. We are trying to piece together the events of what has taken place.
The young victims and their relatives had close ties within this community. Neighbours are now banding together to support those that have been impacted by this tragedy.
Many of our officers and our fellow emergency services are parents as well. And we do absolutely, our hearts go out to the family and the community here.
You know, if you've got kids and that yourself, and it's sort of pretty touching there. That's pretty choking.
Alexandra Keith for 10 News First.
Returning to the conflict in the Middle East now, and the situation is worsening hour by hour. Israel has just launched strikes into 2 major airports in neighbouring Syria. This has come after announcing that Israel is entering the next phase of its military campaign. Overnight, at least 55 Palestinians were killed after a barrage of strikes across the Gaza Strip. The US has now put more of its troops to prepare to deploy over fears that more countries will launch reprisal attacks, as Hezbollah, the Iran-backed militia in southern Lebanon, warns it could step up its involvement. John Paul Gonzo reports from Tel Aviv, and a warning: this report does contain confronting images.
Gaza's so-called safe zone, where 1 million more people are now seeking refuge, hit by a barrage of Israeli missiles. The area is now so crowded, even ambulances struggle to move through. This is where Israel says civilians should go.
For your personal safety, travel south. We will continue to attack the area of Gaza City, and even more than that, we'll